Hello, and welcome back to the third episode in the series on how to get clients with confidence. And today we're going to talk all about messaging because messaging is a really big topic and there's a little bit of misunderstandings around it. And then there's a lot of fear and confusion around it. I've been talking to a lot of different business owners lately who tell me that getting asked the question, "What do you do?" is like the dreaded question that comes to them. And yet, as you know, it's one of the most common questions that you get asked, whether you're in a business setting or you're in a personal social situation. You're going to get asked what you do. It's like how people try and get to understand who you are. And when you stumble on the words, when you're answering that question, it doesn't help your brand. It doesn't really showcase your skills, your genius, the excitement that you have about how you work with people and how you support people. And it certainly doesn't invite further conversation to allow you the opportunity to have an additional discussion with somebody about potentially whether they might be a potential client for you, or even if they know somebody who might need your services. When you're able to answer the question, "What do you do?" in a really compelling and intriguing way, you can plant seeds with people for years. So I actually just had a conversation yesterday with somebody who I talked to a year and a half ago, who is finally ready to work together after that whole period of time, which is amazing. I'm so excited. And I'm really glad to be doing this episode now to share some of the insights around messaging. I'm going to give you a bit of an overview around like what I mean when I'm talking about messaging, just so that we know that we're not talking about like copywriting. We're not necessarily talking about like marketing messaging, but we're talking about your brand messaging and what that means. I will give you 3 key points, and then I will also give you the exact formula that I use, that I teach to my clients in my program, Brand Message Mastery, or whenever I'm working with somebody on helping to clarify the message so that it can then be applied into the various different ways that we can use it to help you grow your business, confidently meet new clients, and promote yourself anywhere that you are. So let's dive in. First of all, what do I mean when I'm talking about messaging? This is the whole concept of how you talk about what you do. It is your intro. It is your elevator pitch. We've heard that phrase before. It is like the first thing that people see when they encounter you in whatever way. So if you think about all of those different touch points, that's like somebody lands on your website, it's what they see. Somebody lands on your social media channels, it's what they see there. Somebody meets you in person, it's what you say to them, right? So it's all of those things. And the purpose of your messaging is to help your ideal clients. So the purpose of your brand message specifically is to help your ideal clients decide if they want to work with you or if you're the right fit for them. So what they should be able to see is themselves. They should be able to see what they want. They should be able to see the problem that they have, and they should be able to see how you solve that thing. So this is different to copywriting, because copywriting is like the various interpretations of it. And copywriting gets way down to the specifics of like direct response, like evoking emotion and using specific language. And that's all important too, because we do need to understand our ideal clients in terms of how they actually describe what problems they're having, what challenges they're having, so that you can use those words to address them and help them really feel like you understand what they're going through when you're on a sales page or a sales call or a webinar or whatever it is that you're doing to help showcase that you really do know what they're going through and that you really are the right person to help them. Because we need to see that connection. We need to understand that, like, I need to know that you get me and that you've been through it, or you've worked with other people through it, or you've come up with a solution or whatever it is, so that I can trust you enough to want to explore working together and seeing how you can help me with that same problem. So that's what we mean by brand messaging. And it really is the like building blocks of all of the other ways that you're going to use it. I create this one statement as a starting point, and then we talk about how to apply that into various different marketing channels and opportunities, and how to expand on it and revise it and use different versions of it depending on what kind of marketing or communication that you're using. So ultimately, that's what a brand message is. Okay, so we're on board. Good. Let's dive into 3 key points about the brand message. And then I'm going to give you the formula so that you can actually start filling in the blanks and doing it for yourself. So the first important point around your message is that you need to use your client's language. So this can be incredibly hard because when we're the expert and we know the things, we want to use the language that we understand. And we want to, skip through the muck and get straight to the point. But a client hasn't been on that journey yet. So it's really important that we're using language that they use, especially when it comes to describing the problem that they have, or like what their goal is. How do they actually talk about that? So in the case, so let's use my business as an example. I used to say, first of all, this is the whole reason why I'm so passionate about this topic. I used to just go out to all these networking events and be like, yeah, I'm extroverted. I can meet people. That's cool. And I would be like, hi, I'm Kelly, and I do PR and marketing and branding for small businesses. And people were like, yeah, that's important, I guess. But what does that mean? Like, it didn't give them anything to grab onto to say, oh yeah, I need help with that. So when I talk about things like, when I talk about visibility now, people get that because they say, I just want to be more visible. I need to stand out from the crowd. I need to differentiate my business from others. Like, they know that they need to put themselves out there. These are phrases that I know that my clients use to talk about what they're trying to achieve. So when I can summarize that into visibility, it makes sense that we are on the same page and that I'm going to cover anything that falls into that kind of bucket. So use your client's language. Do not use any of your like jargony language, or don't use anything too like ambiguous, like that has too much room for interpretation. Like, even when you're talking about overwhelm, that's a tough one to include, because overwhelm for one person is going to look completely different than overwhelm does for another person. So I always struggle when I see like life coaches, transformational coaches, just talking about like, finding your feminine flow and your becoming a unicorn, whatever. Like, these are the kinds of things that like, they're a little too far detached, and sure, like that might be the dreamy situation and you might be all in on that. But if your clients don't get that yet, you're too far away from them in their own journey for them to even start the journey with you. So no offense if you're currently using the term feminine flow. Let me caveat that, if your clients get it already, they know that they really want to like dive into their feminine energy and that's what they're focusing on, then that's actually a great way to attract those specific types of clients, instead of people who don't even know that that's the thing that they really need. So that's up to you on like the level of understanding of your ideal client. So the second point about your message is that you need to talk about the problem that your ideal client thinks that they have, and not the problem that you know that they have. Okay. So these are 2 different things, because your client is thinking that their problem is X. So my clients often think that their problem is social media and content creation. They need more reach. They need to get in front of more people on social media. When I know what the real problem is that they need to address their brand strategy. So I can't just come out at you with brand strategy this and brand strategy that without connecting the dots between like the reason why your social media is hard is because you don't understand who you are, who you're for, or why it matters and how to talk about it. So you have to be able to draw all of those connections, because the truth is your client is not looking for a solution to a problem they don't know they have. They're looking and they were willing to pay for a solution to a problem that they think that they have. So this is that whole kind of concept of give them what they want, sell them what they want, give them what they need. That's how it goes. So you have to speak to what they're actually looking for. And this is not an unethical marketing trick. It is just actually meeting them where they're at, which is so important because you have to go to them. You can't get them to you. Like that's just not, that's an uphill battle. It's not going to work. It is, you need to understand where they're at, what they're looking for, what they're talking about, how they feel, what they feel like their problem is, and meet them there. And then your messaging, you give an opportunity to start talking about the bigger problem, or maybe even you offer them an actual solution to that problem that they think they have so that you have an opportunity to expand further in an additional work with them. So that is such a key point. And I one time saw something that said, stop selling solutions to problems your clients don't know they have because they're not buying them. And this has happened to me before, for sure, because especially in this world of branding, to be able to differentiate and explain like what a branding is, I always have to do that. Like I constantly am explaining every single episode on this podcast. We're talking about that, constantly explaining like the power of it, where it comes from, what's included, how it's not just colors and fonts, right? It's not just your logo. It's not just the visual thing. It's all of this stuff. It's actually your roadmap, your GPS, your guiding post into how you do everything else. And I'm going to continue to have that conversation. And I know that it's going to take a lot longer for me to get some people on board to understanding that, right? And so sometimes that's the pathway that you have to take with your messaging as well. And thinking about where are the confusing points? Like, how do people understand or not understand what I do? And how can I meet them where they're at so that we can get on the same page sooner? Because that's where you have the opportunity to actually land clients. All right. So the third point I have around your brand message is that you need to paint a picture of their life when they work with you to solve the problem. So give them that big ambition. Tell them why it really matters. Tell them you understand why it really matters. So you understand that they want to lose weight or get healthier because they want to be able to run around and play with their kids. It's not because of like fitting into the bikini, right? Like you're speaking to them at like a values level, at that you understand what they really, really care about. And you can really help paint that picture of the life that you are their cheerleader, their support system, their teammate to get them to. So what is that transformation? What does it look like? And why do they really, really want it? So being able to point that out is super important. Like I know that I work with entrepreneurs who want to have their own businesses be successful because they want to have the freedom and flexibility to do the things that they want in their life, especially with their families, right? You're here because you want to be able to work your own schedule, to volunteer on the kids' field trips, to, take summer breaks with them, work half days, be able to like go out and go to the spray park in the summer or whatever it is. Like you want to do those things. That's why you want to make your business successful. That's why you want to figure out the strategies that you need in order to get the clients to fulfill that whole piece. I get it. And usually the case of you getting it is because you have some connectivity to that. You relate to it. You also want that for yourself, or you've experienced that and now you're showing them how to get there, right? So that's an important piece to tie in on your messaging, is that big picture, the ambition, the end result transformation that they get when they work with you. And it's related to why they really, really care about going through the process, because it's hard. Taking action is challenging. Trying new things is hard. Investing in stuff is uncomfortable. And so we want to really reconnect that to the purpose behind it. Okay, so now for the formula. You're going to need to write this down. You're going to replay this section of the podcast, whatever you need to do. It is a very simple formula and it can be very challenging to fill it out. So I'll give it to you. It's I help X do Y so they can Z. Okay, I'm Canadian. It's a Z. So I help X. X is your ideal client. This is where we get really specific on explaining who this person is so that when your person finds you, they can say, yep, that's me, and put their hand up. Okay. So you want to be specific. You want to use some good descriptive words. You want to so if you want to say moms, you want to say business owners, you want to say women, you want to use some of those words to help narrow it down right in that phrase. And then I help X do Y. So what is the thing that you help them solve? This is the problem that you're solving for them. So lose 10 pounds, get in the best shape of your life, make $10,000 a month, whatever it is that you help them do. That's where that goes. So they can spend more time with your family, so they can get clients while you're sleeping, so that you can feel your best, so you can actively engage with your kids all summer, so that you can, run the marathon, whatever it is. What's the big picture goal that they're looking to achieve? Okay, so this is a framework, which means that you can create these blocks and then rearrange them. You don't have to do I help. You can change different words, but if you kind of get that framework in place, that's what's going to give you the base of your core message that I want you to put on your Instagram bio, on your website header. When you meet people, this is how you're going to answer the question. Instead of saying, I'm a fitness trainer or I'm a life coach, you're going to answer it with this specific statement because it is juicy. It is much more intriguing. It is way more likely to get people that want to have a further conversation with you, or for someone to be like, oh, I know somebody who's struggling with that. I really want to help. I want to tell my friend about you. So give me your business card, or let me know where you are online, whatever it is, right? That's how you want to use it. So the formula is simple, but filling out the different pieces is challenging. In fact, when I run my program, Brand Message Mastery, the actual putting it all together is not until the 5th module, because we spend a lot of time actually figuring out who your ideal client is. So if you don't have that clarity, you're going to want to spend some time doing some of these exercises to understand that, and then being able to get more clear on who your ideal client is and their problems and the ambitions that they have is a whole exercise, is a whole section inside of my program as well. So I'm going to leave you with that. I hope you can take it and run with it. If you come up with a new brand message statement, send me a DM on Instagram and send it to me. I will give you feedback. I will promise you that. For coming this far, for listening to this series, for being part of my community, I'm happy to share some insights. And also, if you really are struggling with this particular piece, if you understand the power of having the clarity on all of this and all of the parts that go into it, then I really would love to invite you to check out our program, Brand Message Mastery. Right now, you can get on the wait list. The doors are opening soon, depending on when you're listening to this. So this is like a live version I'm going to run of my signature program that allows you access to the digital course, Do It Yourself, as well as all of the resource materials, the exercises that walk you through how to figure out all of these pieces, and then access to live Q&A support from me personally, so that we can address any of the questions where you're getting stuck and, get feedback on what that looks like, talk about how to use it, talk about how that changes what you maybe currently are doing in your marketing. So if you're looking for that solution to help make your brand stand out online while also feeling confident and excited about showing up authentically, because we are going to get so deep into who you are as a brand and how you individually are so different and unique that it's going to really draw those clients to you magnetically, then this program is for you. All you need to do is head to ksco.ca/BMM and join the waitlist now. All right. Thank you for listening. As always, please reach out and let me know what you got out of this episode. I love to hear from you on Instagram. I love the screenshots when you're listening to the podcast, or you're watching. We're on YouTube as well if you like the visual. So go and check that out. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great week.